There are times when athletes are pushed into the deep end,
Hmm.
sometimes maybe before they are ready, but the excuse given, it could be parents, it could be coaches, it could be so many other stakeholders, that it is a character building endeavor.
Hmm.
Does it build character or does it do something else? Because we see some of them are able to handle it, but about 80% of them fail to see that, and then immediately the blame shifts to, you're not gutsy enough, you don't have the right kind of attitude towards the sport. How does that even help?
Okay. So there are two different factors that you can use to sort of to kind of gauge and see if the athlete needs to be pushed, or whether the athlete needs some degree of reassurance or needs a timeout and so on. If it is the athlete in some way is self-limiting, like he's used to playing a particular game, and he, either in terms of endurance or stamina, you're trying to push him but he's limiting himself, then putting that pressure and asking him to do a little bit more so he breaks that glass ceiling helps. But if it is a perceived sense of failure, or it is a fear of injury, or it is a fear of not being able to sustain a particular performance, then you'll notice that the player might want to withdraw, or the player is not able to comprehend or push himself beyond that point. Pushing a player in that scenario is not very healthy, because then it affects not the self efficacy aspect of the individual, which is their ability or the confidence level to figure out whether they can do or not do something. It affects the self esteem, that people are expecting more out of me, I'm not able to perform, therefore I am either good or bad. That it goes into that mindset. Once a player has a player's self-esteem is affected, very quickly what happens is his or her need to withdraw becomes a lot more than to engage and push themselves beyond that space. So if a player is in his nascent space, or has not had enough experience, or has not watched or visualized a lot of the gameplay in mind, very often very early onset pushing or rigorously asking a player to do something can affect more the self-esteem and not necessarily the self-efficacy part of it. So
Does that then impact their longevity in the game automatically, or over a period does that get kind of sorted?
if it is measured, like you're pushing the player but you come back and you talk to him afterwards, him or her afterwards, saying, this happened, what was going on and so on, then if you figure out whether it's a self-efficacy or a self-esteem issue, both the player and the coach can work together to build that character that they're talking about. But if that conversation is lacking and there is a gap that develops, it very quickly threatens the person's longevity in the game.
Okay, so there have been times when even international players had found this very difficult, that is to handle this kind of character building right in the middle of a game, and they found their international careers very very limited, whereas they come back into the more comfortable domestic setup,
Yeah.
and the same thing is there. So which means, what is limiting them at the next level? There are players who find themselves limited at the higher level, so that limitation that you're speaking about maybe is not evident at this level, which is why they are going to the next one.
So with every increase in the level of player, one play is that there is a higher set of expectation that they have on themselves, and the support systems that they usually surrounded with also become lesser and lesser. Let's say a player is going abroad to play, or they're playing in, let's say, the opponent's field. So there's going to be obviously a lot more supporters for the home team than there is for the team that has come there to perform. So in such kind of situations, if the player is, having some self-esteem difficulties, then it's very likely that they'll experience that entire thing as isolating. So if if for some reason the player was not able to perform, or or there was an internal gap in the way the strategy was built, very often than not, when they come back after experiencing something like that, there'll be a lot more negative emotions that the player would feel. If it's not addressed in a timely manner or in a scheduled manner, very often that negative emotions can grow, which can make players take decisions on which spaces and to what extent they want to grow their field and so on. It's true for other professions as well, but it's definitely very true for sports persons.
So the way the feedback is presented to the athlete therefore becomes very crucial.
Yes.
When this is the aim, like I said, character building, which is where we started.
Yeah.
Therefore, the amount of feed, not just the amount, the quality of feedback given, then will enhance uh, the coach's knowledge of what the player is at that particular time, and the player's expectations can be altered, you're saying.
Yes, so it's about feedback and a sense of closure as well.
Closure.
Because we are, even though we play in team games or we play solo games, our perception of what might have happened may be very different from the perception of what the observer might pick up, especially crucial entities of the team, like the nutrition support or the physiotherapist or the coach for that matter. So very often the feedback that they might get from professionals can help add more value to their own perception and make better decisions of how they want to manage aspects of their performance better. The closure is to be is a sense of validation from the overall team to say that, hey, there is a possibility for growth, or that there is or this is the maximum. So if a person has had a bad game and they meet their support staff, who they work with, supporting team and they work with, and they come back and be like, oh, you can't do more, then the feedback or the closure that they get out of this is that's the end of what their performance is, and that can build over a period of time if that closure or the feedback is not adequate or not right for the individual.
So, but there could be another side to this as well, right? Where the feedback, you see, if this is all you can, then that limits them. What if there is a false sense of being able for them to push themselves beyond? What if the a similar stakeholder, or whoever else, like you said, says, you know what, this is not what it is. It could be a very false thing in the name of giving them a push or a confidence.
Yeah.
They could also end up saying more than what they're not giving them the right perception or information about themselves. They are probably changing that for them.
Oh, absolutely. That is an extremely subjective experience. It's very dependent. Okay, this person is looking demotivated. I need to motivate them. So I'll say whatever I can to motivate them. It's important that you have scheduled sessions for these feedback so that you can get a little bit more of an objective measure coming in.
So there's a time, you're saying, increase the time between the action that's happened and the feedback that you're giving.
Oh, yes. So you can give us obviously if the game is still on, then the feedback is going to be more subjective. But afterwards, take a step back, give an objective feedback, then evaluate along with the team, and then move forward. So that needs to happen in some degree of frequency for us, for the player as well as the team to adequately gauge what can be expected out of themselves.